So you have heard a lot of reasons to get salt water for your swimming pool. Well, I'm going to give you 3 reasons not to get salt water, and those reasons relate specifically to some of the reasons which people buy salt water to begin with. And the first one is that you'll use less chemicals. Everybody wants to use less chemicals in their pool, right? Well, the reality is that salt water doesn't use less chemicals. They're not maintenance-free pools, and you still need to balance all of the same things that you would balance in a traditional chlorine swimming pool. So why would you get salt water if you want less chemicals? If you want less chemicals, get something like ozone or UV, because either one of those will dramatically reduce the amount of chemicals that you use in your swimming pool. If I had to put a number on it, an adequately sized ozone or UV system could reduce the amount of chemicals that you put in your swimming pool by up to about, let's say, 70%. You're going to reduce the amount of chlorine that you need in the water because you have something else that's also killing bacteria and oxidizing physical debris that's in the water. You're not just relying on chlorine to do that, so you need a lot less chlorine overall. If you need to add a lot less chlorine to your pool, then you'll need to make adjustments to your pH and your alkalinity a lot less often because the chlorine that you're adding isn't changing those values all of the time. So if you wanted to reduce the amount of chemicals that you use in your pool, you wouldn't get a saltwater system. You would get an ozone or a UV system, or potentially even one of the brand new things called AOP, Advanced Oxidation Potential. That's something that you could look into, and I have some reviews of AOP systems on my website, swimmingpoolsteve.com, that you can search for if you're interested in the latest and greatest technology in terms of reducing chemical usage in swimming pools. So let's move on to the next reason that people often get saltwater systems. They get them because you often deal with red eyes or itchy skin in your swimming pool, and that's something that you want to avoid. The reality is that most of the time when you have red eyes or itchy skin from the water, it has nothing to do with the chlorine. You're not allergic to chlorine, and if you were, switching to salt water wouldn't help you in the slightest. What you are is sensitive to changes in the pH in the water, and if you're sensitive to changes in the pH in the water, the further your pH is from the ideal of 7.5, the more likely you're going to end up with some red eyes or itchy skin when you're done swimming. So if you want to avoid red eyes and itchy skin, the thing to do is to become proficient with balancing your total alkalinity and your pH in the water, because that's something that you can do which will actually make a difference to the amount of red eyes and itchy skin that you get. That being said, there is some benefit for some people in using salt water versus a traditional chlorine pool. The addition of 3,000 parts per million of salt to the water actually does have somewhat of a softening effect on the skin, and that's something that you can benefit from. But again, the vast majority of people experiencing red eyes and itchy skin is due to a chemical imbalance in the pH, and not so much due to the type of chlorine or the lack of salt in the water. Now, the final reason that people often say that they want a saltwater system is they just want to automate the whole process of taking care of the pool. It's too much trouble having to drive to the store and get chlorine and add it to the pool all the time, so they want to automate the process. Well, a saltwater system does somewhat do that. It automates the process of the chlorine delivery. The rest of the chemicals all still will need to be manually picked up from the store and added by yourself, but you do have the benefit of having the chlorine added to the water for you. Although arguably you could look at something like an erosion feeder. An erosion feeder or a chlorine puck feeder is something that gets installed into the mechanical room of your swimming pool installation, and you just put some chlorine pucks in there and they slowly feed out into the water. But then you're having to go to the store and buy chlorine pucks all the time, and if you want to get technical about it, they add cyanuric acid to the water, which can build up over time, and then you need to worry about draining some water and refilling it. All of those things are true. But what if you were using, let's say, 70% less chlorine in the first place because you also installed a UV lamp in your swimming pool installation? So that's why I say if you're looking for a saltwater system because you want something that's maintenance-free and it doesn't use any chemicals and it automates the chlorine delivery, I think actually there might be better options available to you than what you're looking into now. And if that's what you wanted, I might look into an erosion feeder and something like a UV lamp, because I think these could make a real difference and improve the swimming experience that you're having. If you found this information helpful, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can check out my website, swimmingpoolsteve.com.